We start here, a lobby with 5 distinct paths. There are lights flying overhead, which seem like they mean something, but don't be mistaken. Nothing in this map means anything. Also, there's a bird. Room number 1. The house is 2 houses no clipped into each other. A rather fitting start for this map. To the left is the spinny hallway room, which is very disorienting. A pretty regular looking house. When you open the door to the other room, things become quite warped and colorful. The warping leads down to this corner of the room with only a skull. The next room in the house is flipped on its side with a window that's looking outside. In the other room / lower level, there's a door to the right which is actually locked. To get to the next section, you have to go through this hidden door. This part can get a little confusing, so bear with me. We're gonna start on the left with this very colorful room. It's actually kind of scary because if you close the door behind you, it'll blend in with the room. That's honestly about it though. Now we come to a little bit of a fork in the road. Up this staircase, there are 2 separate doorways, one on the left and one on the right. We're gonna go to the door on the left, and it's to what I consider the calm before the storm. It's a room with what seems to be flowers on the ground, along with walls that are painted as a landscape. It's really quite peaceful and a little nostalgic. Don't you dare get comfortable though, because we need to go to the next room. The old cuck chair room. A dark room with a single chair lit by a light overhead. Not much else to say here other than it's ominous as hell. If you decide to go to the path on the right, you'll be met with this. We'll come back to this a little later. For now though, unlike Karl Anthony Towns, we're gonna go straight. Yes, I am a Salty Hawks fan. Anyways, going straight leads us into this hallway. I will say the music works beautifully here. It made me really want to get out of this section, like I was in a race to get to the next segment or something terrible would happen. And here we are, a ladder that goes straight down. When you go down the ladder, you're presented with a new hallway. And if you go to the first path to the right, now, I don't know if all saloons look like this, but I feel like this is based off the iconic Red Dead saloon where Arthur loses Lenny. And of course, it uses the same music from that scene. Also, outside the saloon, it's really muddy and slushy. Ugh. Now, as much as I'd like to yap about Red Dead for the next 20 minutes, which I could do very easily, it's a beautiful game, we got a giant ass map to explore. So going back out to the hallway, we're presented with another 3 paths. Remember what I said about this getting confusing? Alright, whatever, I'm gonna go down the warped one because it looks cool. This will lead us to the plaza, one of the larger sections of the map. It's pretty nonsensical. What I mean by that is there's a tree with a bunch of different lights illuminating off of the branches, except for yellow, of course, because yellow is beaming either out of or into a toilet. Don't ask me. At the other side, there's a bar, which you have to do a little parkour to get to. Almost there, and there's a stunning looking pizza hanging off the side of this concrete. Damn, bro, I was examining the hell out of this pizza. Hungry ass, bro. I had to have been starving. Inside the bar, it is fully stocked. And, oh, lovely. Through this door is a room split between 4 different themes. There's also a tesseract in the middle of the room. Does it have any deeper meaning? I don't know, man. Probably not, because it's all abstract. You're gonna hurt yourself if you try to give meaning to all these rooms. Okay, back to the hallway. If you go to the left, you'll walk past this elevator that doesn't work, and then you'll make it all the way back to the... So this is where you'd end up if you went straight in the fork in the road hallway. So we're gonna come back to that after we explore the door to the right. But first, we need to see what would happen if we went straight in this hallway. The next room is bouncy, and I mean that. Boing. Boing. I don't feel like downloading a sound effect. The room leads us to this new path, which is only sorta new, because it's exactly what we're gonna explore if we go straight at this path. I genuinely hope you guys are following. Anyways, let's go through the door to the right. Wow, more doors. Don't worry though, none of these open, they're all fake. Except for this one at the end of the hallway, which leads us into this tiny fan room. Not much to say here, it's just a tiny fan room. This leads us into a very regular bathroom, like possibly the most regular bathroom I've ever been in. Trust me, I looked everywhere, there's nothing wrong here. Yeah, but this shit's about to get stupid, so. The path upward immediately breaks off into 2 parts. And this is where the map really turns into a headfuck maze. I chose to go to the right, to this grass path here. A pretty calming scenery before what's about to unfold, so just take it in for a second. Going out of the pool room will lead us down this path, which will eventually lead us back to this, which again, we'll come back to. After going back to the grass room, I saw this discolored wall, which was obviously another path, and curiosity got the better of me. It was a long path. This footage is in 4x speed, but eventually I stumbled upon another room and more paths. This section has one of my favorite songs throughout the entire map. It matches the vibe perfectly. This room has a window that looks up to 2 distinct city buildings. And of course, those lights are still flying overhead. Looking into the buildings, they look just like regular working spaces. Before we move on, I just want to say I tried to make all these paths connect for the video, but as you'll see here in a second, I just don't think that's possible. For instance, coming out of this room, we have 2 separate paths, but on the left, there's also 2 separate paths. It's so confusing, which is obviously done on purpose. I decided to take the right path though. At first glance, this kinda looks like a diner, but looking closer, I don't really know what it is. The booth-style chairs don't really make sense, and the tables are too small for anything, really. We go under this garage, and oh my god, look at all of these paths. Do you see what I mean? I decided to go to the right, like I do with most of these, and it brings me to this hotel-style hallway with a couple of doors. You probably have to be in the moment, but this scared the shit out of me. The next room was really dirty and had 4 beds with 2 dead corpses on them. The last room was pretty normal. A cleaner hotel-style room with a window that seemed to look out to the flower room, interestingly enough. To get to the next area, you have to go through this door, which will lead us to a quaint, relaxing dock area. Still a very eerie feeling, but also very relaxing. I don't know how to explain it, but the dock in comparison with the boat feels small. I don't know if that's the game playing tricks on me, or if it was done intentionally, but whatever it is, it definitely works to give off an eerie feeling. If you go back into the hotel area, there's another door. We're brought into yet another hallway, but this time the doors on the sides are locked. The only door that can be accessed is at the end of the hallway. To me, this looks like a break room, but honestly, it could be anything. The register on the counter definitely doesn't help. The only way we can go is back, so let's do that. So we're back to this 4-way intersection, and I didn't notice there was a gun on the ground when I first passed this area. Anyways though, I decided to go to the right yet again, and that led me to this new hallway. This hallway eventually led me to some parkour. After perfectly executing the parkour with flawless b-hops, it took me to this vending machine room with a single hole in the ground. This next room at first glance gives off the illusion that it has a mirror, but it's not. It's a window that's looking down into the same exact structure. One of my favorite rooms in the map. In my opinion, it's one of the most abstract here. When you see a watermelon, you just know it's not gonna make sense. The floating cars will do it too. The room over has a set of lockers and a single bloodstain on the wall. If you continue on, you'll come to this split room with 2 separate sofas. What does it mean? What do you think it means? Leave your guesses in the comments, man, I don't know. Up a bit further is a control panel. Pressing E on it does nothing though. Leaving this section takes us to a path with 2 separate turns. But first, we're 25 rooms deep into this map, which means we're halfway through. So let's give a quick recap of what's going on. I drew up this map to make a bit more sense, but even this is a little confusing because some parts overlap each other. Anyways though, I hope you're enjoying the video. Let's get back to it. I went to the right, which led me to the shower room. Neither of these next 2 sections have music, so you're gonna have to just bear with me. Another pool room. Cool. This one's a bit more traditional than the last, except for the waterfall that's coming down into the pool. And you already know I had to jump off the diving board. To get to the next area, we have to go down a pretty long path, but it's worth it. The next room has a series of flat pillars in the middle of the room, with a car that cannot be parked here.
Everyone, get in the car!
The jokes just write themselves, honestly. There's a window in the ceiling revealing those moving lights. Leaving this area brings you to a ton of new paths. It may look confusing, but it's honestly the least confusing part of the map. A red path with a bunch of clocks floating in the sky. At the end of the path, there's a lone doll sitting on a clock. When you go straight from the 4-way stop, you're led down this grass path. Each internet comments, I'm touching grass, I don't know. Now, I don't know if I should consider this small cute room a part of the path or make it its own room. I'm honestly like that for a couple of these areas, so we're just gonna have to see by the end of the video. Going straight leads us to a couple more paths. I chose to go straight, which led me to this BS. I didn't add this fuck-ass music, this is from the map. I got trolled, bro. Fuck. If you go to the left from where we were, it leads you to this nice little cabin with a cool bench and cool music. This is a really cool effect here where when you open the doors in one cabin, it opens it in the next. I didn't even know you could do that in GMod, so it's pretty cool. There's some more paths here, which is pretty annoying, but they're not too complicated, so it's okay. I continued going straight, and that led me to this library. Pretty eerie stuff, especially because there's no music. It's just noise. Until you get a little further into the song, when it gets even eerier. Going to the left path, we're brought to this room. A completely tile room with 2 separate dolls on each side. The way they're set up makes it look like some kind of ritual maybe. I low-key fucking dropkicked this one into the water. Pretty cool, if you ask me. Going straight leads me to my all-time favorite room in the map. It's so unique and it describes GM Flux so well. I mean, look at it. It's a literal flux, I guess. If that makes sense. You know what, it's my damn video and it does make sense. I really love this part for how little sense it makes. I mean, none of these buildings look like they belong together and it's on a weird patch of grass. Anyways, going out of this section, I realized that we just did a whole loop. So I decided to go to the right because it hadn't been explored yet. And the cool part is this room right here is the cityscape room. Whoa. I think one of the coolest things about this map is that each individual playthrough will go differently. And things that you think are far away in your head are actually a lot closer than they seem. Anyways though, here's the next room.
Well, off to visit your ball pit.
Here we have a ball pit room with 3 distinct slides. There's a ball pit on the roof and a ball pit on the floor. You know, just normal stuff.
I've got stuff.
The next room is a bit more dreary, but also a little beautiful at the same time. It's a really relaxing graveyard with some cool fog and cool landscaping. Another cool aspect about this map that I'm sure not a lot of people are thinking about is the amount of sceneries. You get 50 different sceneries, give or take of course. You can record any amount of skits and be as creative as you want with these scenes. I've never been more compelled to drop into something. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what I did. Bro. I forgot to mention, did you hear that little jingle? That sound plays every time you find a secret. Pretty cool. Anyways, I ended up back in the lobby, so I decided why not take a different path. Also, yes, these doors open. Is this a room? Do we consider this a room? We shall see. Anyways, the path led me to a door, which led me to a staircase. After going down, we come to this city-looking area. Everything looks pretty normal until you look to the left. There seems to be a crater in the ground, but upon further inspection, it's actually just a hole that goes into the void. Hidden in this little corner is a door, and it leads you down to this gassy sewer system. There's a light illuminating this door, and once we go through it, my #1 favorite song in the soundtrack, Whoever Made It Cooked. There's a series of doors here which lead to rooms with slightly different paint jobs. Some are simpler than others, some are a little more nonsensical, some are a bit more Estonian than others, and some are a bit more Israeli than others. But one thing is true about them, and that's that they are all different. I'm keeping the same damn music, it's too fire, but I noticed while looking for a new path that the door on the other side of the city is actually locked, and there's a PNG cube car. There was no other path from there, so I decided to go back to the lobby and go through this path. At first, this really looks like a painting, but as you get closer to it, it's just a bunch of green Gordon Freemans. There's a garage door here in... oh... this has got to be one of the darkest scenes in the map. But then you go through here and it's all okay. Because listen to that sweet, sweet melody. It's in this museum style room where we either have some assets to the map or some random bullshit. I think I'm gonna go with some random bullshit. I was not fucking with the box dog. This Dr. Kleiner has definitely done something wrong. I don't even know what to say here, honestly. In here we have some random pictures, which I can always appreciate in a GMod map. There's one thing I forgot about, and that's that we have to go straight at the fork in the road hallway. If you go all the way up this ladder, it leads you to a little Easter egg. This next room kind of reminds me of GM Construct. I think it's the basic source elements for me. In this room there's a button that makes a staircase. The staircase will lead you into a hallway lined with computers. The next room is pretty terrifying. Behind the structure is a dead body, and I could only imagine this being the place where I spend my final moments. The other path in the GM Construct looking room leads us to this. I don't know, man. We follow another path which leads us to this road. A car has fallen into this hole. Could be a joke here, I don't know. Who knows? Going a bit further, we come up to this motel looking place. There's a little pool in the middle, which is kind of weird. I don't really put anything past this map anymore though. Oh, look at where we are. I told you we'd come back to this because we needed to get to some of the other rooms. Like this railroad. This railroad has a train that is doomed to perpetually keep moving. Next up is another completely tile room. I compare a lot of GMod maps on this channel to the back rooms. I tried to avoid it with this map because I do think it's its own thing, but in my opinion this room does closely relate to the back rooms. I'm sorry. And here we are, the home stretch. You've heard me yap your ear off this entire video, so right now just sit back, relax, and enjoy what remains of this video. How the fuck did I get 51 maps?